Oh, Twitter. I've been kind of on a shitting on Twitter kick lately. No, I mean for a while, because I just feel like it's so poorly run. I would want to remind everybody that whenever Elon Musk first bought X, and you can find my words on the internet, I said, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance because currently it's not run very well. I said this verbatim. I said, you know what? It can't get much worse. I just want people to know that I didn't come in with an agenda. You can go find the first video. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm looking at the numbers. Jack Dorsey's an absentee CEO. They're not running this place very well. Can't get much worse. And I've been so shocked at how bad he is. I don't know how people can defend it. I really don't know how someone like with a brain can look at like 83% down in value and be like, you know, this is really good. This is well run. But anyway, a couple things happened. He made some legal missteps trying to sue somebody, and it ended up with their cap table, their ownership list getting leaked. Not leaked, but revealed. So you can see who owns parts of Twitter other than Elon Musk. It's like P. Diddy, a Saudi prince. I mean, a lot of banks that are on the hook. And then there was one other like bad one. It was P. Diddy, a Saudi prince, and actually P. Diddy. Yeah, actually P. Diddy owns. And then, yeah, lots of different fidelity funds, which all bought into this stupid idea. It's a pretty nightmare blunt rotation, to be correct. Yeah. Anyway, what I wanted to follow up on that was this article came out from the Wall Street Journal, which indicated that Elon Musk's, they've spoken to the banks, and it's the worst buyout the banks have ever had since the financial crisis. The $13 billion they loaned Elon to buy Twitter, it's catastrophic. And I want to kind of explain, it's a hung deal, and I want to explain what that means. So I made a little, I made this. I want you to kind of explain what happens with banks, right? So let's say I loan you $5 and you tell me that you're going to pay me back $10. Now, I don't want to hold this IOU on my books. I don't want the stress of knowing whether or not you'll pay me $10 later. So I go to a third party and I sell your debt. I basically say, hey, give me $7 because chat owes me 10. I'll tell them to give it to you. So this person gives me 7 and then I give them your IOU. And that way I made $2, right? I made $2 clean profit and I'm out of the game. I don't have to worry about whether you pay me back or not. I lose the $3 difference, but I'm out of the risk. That is what banks want to do. This is what all the banks are trying to do. So when banks loaned Elon Musk $13 billion, they plan to go sell that to somebody else for, 13 and a half, 14 billion, and let that person collect all the interest and all the upside. And they just wanted to get a little bit of profit and get out. The problem is banks cannot sell this debt. They cannot find a single person at any even like discounted price who will buy this Elon Musk Twitter debt. Nobody thinks it'll get paid back, so nobody's buying it. So they cannot sell it. It is what's called hung, and not in the good way. And the length of time this amount of money has been hung exceeds all of these terrible deals from the financial crisis. Like, it's so much longer. Banks are rarely holding this much bad debt on their books for this long. It's becoming like one of the worst deals ever. And you know it's bad. You know it's this bad on the bank's books because bankers are getting their bonuses cut. And they never do that for any reason. But it turns out that bankers, and again, I don't feel bad for them, by the way. They made a stupid business. I don't care, but it's funny that they're getting like 40% pay cuts at their top investment bankers because it's such a big L. Why get a bonus at all? Well, they can't not get a bonus. How's a banker going to eat if they don't get a few million in bonuses? But what's funny is they're all quitting. So these bankers do a terrible deal. Then they get their pay cut because they did such a bad job. Then they go, well, you can't cut my pay. And then they quit. And they go somewhere else, leaving the actual bank with the holding with the debt. It's wild. But I wanted to show that, like, while Elon Musk and Twitter have yet to miss an interest payments, everyone is pretty confident that when the actual 13 billion comes due, they're not going to pay it. Unless Elon Musk wants to personally sell a bunch of Tesla stock and pay for it. Like, Twitter doesn't have the money. And I think the deal is 5 years maybe on this 13 bill. So they still have some time, but the interest payments alone are like 1.5 billion a year. And they're barely making it. They had to cut the company to the bone to make the interest payments. It seems very unlikely they can pay this back. And that's going to be a real do or die moment for the whole company. Does Twitter have any money? Twitter loses money consistently. They have, a little bit of money from when Elon bought it. But yeah, but you can't put a price on free speech. So true. So true. Elon, my based king. Dude, when you talk with Elon stands about it, they vacillate between like he's doing it for free speech, or they'll say, no, he wanted this. It's all part of his plan to destroy Twitter. That's the argument I see a lot. They'll tell me to my face that like, no, it's all part of his plan. He wanted it to fail. He's trying to destroy Twitter. And I'm like, bro, he can shut it. He owns it. He can shut it down right now. He doesn't need to bleed out over 5 years. He can shut it down right now. He owns it completely. It's shocking. If Twitter were to declare bankruptcy and dissolve, would Elon be on the hook for the debt still? No, not at all. Magic of the system. The debt is all on Twitter's books. If Twitter were to dissolve and declare bankruptcy, the biggest losers would be the banks that loan him money. But basically, the biggest losers would be the who's who of investors. I think poor P. Diddy would lose money. Oh, not Diddy. Not the Saudi wealth fund. Oh, not a series of banks. It's no big loss if Twitter goes back or X goes bankrupt. Some people that were desperate to follow Elon into anything will lose money, and it will not be a big loss. Either way, it's not I'm not too worried, but it's just a little annoying because Twitter, as poorly run as it was under Jack Dorsey, was like useful. I could use it to keep up with news, and it's just become so much more bot infested and worse. There's always Truth Social though, huh? Am I right, Patriots? There's always Truth Social. So I wanted to mention that. Other things I wanted to mention, again, these are like, I kind of picked stories that I thought were not the biggest mainstream stuff I've already talked about. Oh, Poland. This is such a random story, but so you guys know that Poland is like on a 30-year economic miracle? I guess I've sort of been off the radar, but Poland is like killing it. This sounds crazy in all our societies now, but like in Poland, people have better lives than their parents. Like children are experiencing a better future than their parents. That things are getting better. They're seeing their wages go up, and I didn't know it was allowed. I didn't know it was possible. But yeah, Poland is like, post-World War II, a complete shithole, completely destroyed, hollowed out. Many bad years up through the Cold War. And then over the past 30, they've had just consistent, steady, reliable growth. Their GDP per capita is almost tied with Japan, which again is like the third largest economy in the world. Yeah, Poland's, I don't know, they're like relatively happy. I want to read more on it myself. It's something I've only recently discovered. I always thought Poland's greatest export was like weird shooter games. I always thought like Poland only existed for like, some like different developers to make odd shooter games, but they're actually a pretty thriving economy. So that's cool. And then on the flip side, economy who you might not know is doing so badly that you probably could guess is Nigeria. And the reason I bring it up is because I read an interesting article this morning. I was at the cafe reading my FT. Side note on that, I go to a very LA hipster cafe. I'll just be honest with you. And when I mean hipster, I mean literally it is filled with hipsters. You look around and it's like people have chokers on, people, it's hipsters, okay? You're one of those people? I would love to feel like I fit in there. However, when I sit my white ass down and flip open my Financial Times physical copy, I feel like I don't belong. I felt it today. I literally I was looking around and I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm reading a physical newspaper. I feel like a suit a little bit. Everyone around me is always talking about their projects, like their band or it's probably all rich kids. There's no way they can live in LA and then they're at a cafe at, 10:30 on a Monday. Anyway, unrelated. I'm reading an interesting article about Nigeria. Their president, Bola Tinubu, just bought his 12th plane with government money. The people of Nigeria are not doing so well, but the president decided that he needed a new Air Force One type plane, and he wanted a good one, a luxury one. So they bought a 12th plane, and people, understandably, are upset. He's getting a lot of pushback on the 11 was fine. But by the 12th, Tinubu was pushing it. Is the FT subscription worth it? Is it getting delivered? It's worth it for me. And I do get it delivered. It's worth it for me because it's my favorite hobby, my favorite routine. I wake up, I walk to this cafe with my dog, and I read the paper. And it makes me feel like I'm learning something, and I get some sun, and I like it. However, you certainly don't need the physical copy. Like I often will find myself reading in the physical paper something I already read on my phone the night before that was in the digital version. It's certainly not necessary, but I like it. Such a boomer thing to do when I'm 35. It is. I have no defense for it. I have literally no defense for it. It's boomer as all hell. But it works for me and it sticks in my brain better and I like it. I don't know. The boomers were onto something with that. They cooked.